Record to the cloud. All right, welcome everyone to the November 19th meeting of the MLP. I'm Gail Hundress, MLP Manager, facilitating the meeting. This meeting is fully remote. Participating also remotely, we have MLP board members, Jim Hemingway and Graham Sefton. Steve Schmidt is absent tonight, and joining us also, we have community member Craig Martin. First item of business is to approve the previous meeting minutes from October 29th as
So moved.
amended by Jim. Thank you to Graham.
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
That was lucky. They're your minutes, Jim.
Yeah. I know, it's sort of cheating.
Yeah. It's all right.
Jeff and I.
Graham is an I and Jim is a.
Aye.
Excellent. All right. All right. Let's do HUT report. Graham, you're up.
Yeah, there was an interesting month with the HUT, and Steve actually was there when Steve and I turned up. As you might recall from last month, which wasn't very long ago, that Steve wanted to come and see the generator tested under load, and so with a little more prodding, Pechoric Electric did turn up for the annual. They do 6 or 7 generators in the town, and they did ours first, and at the HUT, and when Steve and I, and so to finish off that part of the story, that was good because sure enough, the reprogrammed generator did wait. So knock off the power to the HUT from the utility, and nothing happens for 2 minutes, because the generator is now programmed to wait and see if this is really a power out. And then after 2 minutes, the generator did start up, and then another bang on the automatic transfer switch as it picked up the load. And of course, while it wasn't in that 2 minutes that it wasn't picking up the load, the UPS system ran all the equipment, and the only thing that was missing from inside the HUT was the overhead lights. But there's so many blue lights and green lights and red lights that you hardly know that the lights have gone out. So anyhow, that worked well. He ran it for 5 minutes to show that the generator could hold the load, and then he turned the utility power back on to test the other side of the programming for the generator, which is that it waits 2 minutes now to make sure that the utility isn't just bouncing in and out for, as sometimes after, trees fall on lines and stuff happens. So anyhow, so it did everything that it had been reprogrammed to last year, and it still picks up load. So that was good to see it happen. And but the other part of it, the thing that made the visit to the HUT interesting, more interesting, was when we walked in there. I noticed that on the outside of the HUT, no, the fan was running on the outside. So I looked inside, and the south side HVAC unit inside the HUT had turned itself off, and this was the second time it's done it in 2 weeks. And at that point, I told Steve, this is a totally unfortunate thing. So the south side, on the inside, the south HVAC unit is the one that the mice invaded and chewed through a couple of things, which got replaced. But I'd always been of the I'm sure Jim, well, I'm sure anyone can imagine if mice are peeing and crapping on a printed circuit board, that it is going to leave residue on that circuit board, which in the long run is going to oxidize in ways that are across PC boards. The gaps are angstroms almost, they're millicrons, whatever. They're microns. They're small, and and the corrosion and whatever. So anyhow, so I think that this is Jim. You obviously have some comment.
You said that mice are responsible for this time around?
Conjecture, but
Oh,
this was from years ago.
okay.
The mice
Oh,
got
yeah, I
invaded.
remember. Yeah, I remember the
The
discussion.
mice, but I was there when they emptied the mice out of the box. The mice in that unit on the wall couldn't get into the hut, but because they were enclosed by the metal box of the thing. But they did. They were obviously packed in there, and at the time I thought this is not. I kind of figured, oh, we should replace that. But the whoever they were, the contractor at the time said, "Oh
Yeah,
no,
Rod.
no, we can clean out mice stuff. We clean out mice out of these things all the time." And I thought, oh, okay, so we got another 2 years out of it, I suppose, but it cost money to even to do whatever repairs we did have to do. So it might have paid off, but anyhow, um, um, I. Uh, initially I sort of figured, okay, well, I'll ask everyone here to approve just replacing the mousy unit. Um, but then after a few more days, I kind of thought, well, you know, at this time of year, as I know because I regularly look at the hut temperature, even without any HVAC running in the hut, the hut was holding temperature pretty much. It's right at a balance point for a couple of months in this time of the year. And the only reason I had to go in on a Friday night or a Saturday night was because it was a warm couple of days, and the temperature actually started creeping up to 78, something like that in the hut. So I figured, well, I couldn't trust it to, but now it's totally trustworthy because the hut it will almost keep its own temperature. So I figure, therefore, get some more wear out of the crummy one and replace it before cooling season starts next in the springtime. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
We can get.
Hmm. Yeah.
So vote to replace it, but we'll wait until it actually needs to be replaced, which would be when before cooling season starts.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, though, for this whole winter, then we're just gonna kind of turn it on and let it run with the expectation they'll probably fail and turn itself off and not work very
Yeah.
well.
Use
Okay.
it up. Yep.
Use
Yep.
it up.
And it's absolutely no risk. It's not even inconvenient because as you know now, the exhaust fan is now set at 84 degrees or something like that. So
Hmm.
so if the temperature had got up the other night, if the temperature had got up to 84 before I got to the hut, then the exhaust fan would have turned on until the temperature went down below 84, and then so the exhaust would turn on and off until someone did something about it. So but it'd keep the hut, on outside cooling from outside in a reasonable manner. So, and it's the thermostat control there, so it's kind of like it's not just bringing in 30 to 20-degree air um, without stopping.
Yeah. Yeah. That south unit, another theory is that it could have just been a lemon. It's had since the beginning, it just had problems. Yes, it had the mouse problem, but all those electrical issues. And so, um,
I don't think
yeah,
it did anything wrong until the mice.
yeah, but
But that one.
it was so early though. I mean, it was only
Mm,
like a year. When did we first have that mouse issue?
Oh,
2021?
it's a while ago. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so so in that, it was only running, I think, 2 years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
regardless, whatever the
And
problem was,
and then the
it's
other one
gone.
got hit by the surge issue. So we spent a bunch of money on the other one because the mouse one had been turned off and therefore it was protected from the surge. So no.
Yeah, yeah. Graham, do you think it's worth it to have Pioneer Valley come out and run, more diagnostics on it and with the potential of replacing the circuit boards? Or at this point, do you think we've sunk enough money into the unit and kind of done enough repairs that it makes sense just to replace the whole thing?
I think with so many electronic things, it just never pays you to replace. It's like your TV, replacing things inside the cost. the manufacturing is so much more efficient and cost effective that remanufacturing it, it just doesn't make any sense. And the other reason it's not a good idea is because the people who build them all the time, but there's someone replacing at the board level, it's not like a computer where you can pull in and out. They're not designed to be repaired. It's a $600, well, before maybe before tariffs, it was a $600 unit on the wall, and then there's $1,000 to install it because they've got to get all the refrigerant out and then pressure it back up and this, that, and the other. So, it's a fair bit of labor. But if you added labor of pulling out circuit boards, you'd have to get rid of every bit of electronics in there because you don't know which things the mice peed on as well. So, it's anything that's electrical in there. I would not want to have anything to do with it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, this is, I'm fine to just make a note that we'll be replacing the south unit in
Yeah.
March-ish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I won't forget because it'll turn itself off a few more times, I'm sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
and
about
I'll-
replacing the whole south unit as opposed to just the boards.
The whole indoor unit. That was the thing that no mice lived in the outdoor unit. It's just the internal wall unit sitting up on the wall.
Okay, the inside one, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, the inside on the south. It's unit one, but that means nothing if you're it's better to, as Steve pointed out, it's better to say south.
Well, these HVACs are sure not very dependable. I wonder if everybody who, there's been a big rush to install heat pumps all over the place. I wonder if everybody in town is suffering from these kind of intermittent issues.
They have 15 to 25 year lifetime expectancy. So yeah, they don't do much better than they don't do as good as a fridge at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the ones at the fire station got blown in that surge event that affected us too.
Mhm.
Yep. And in the
So,
town hall and inside the town hall as well.
oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think with that surge event was actually 240 volts going to just one sided, 120 volts and screwing it up. It's like, it doesn't work when you put 120 volts on. One side fell off, got broken by the tree, whatever it was.
All right. Well, good, Graham, we will connect about that in March.
You bet. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Let's see. So maintenance and service report, we had 28 tickets in October, pretty normal month. No takers yet for the beyond the router support. But it's only been going about a month. So, I don't think that's unusual. I'll keep monitoring that. Let's see, the library installation project continues to roll forward. A bit complicated figuring out how grant payments work because we don't have the money yet. And, I've been working with Gail Weiss, like, how do we code these so that they get paid? Anyway, it's happening. And Graham has done a wonderful job. And Graham, do you want to talk about your installation of the Ubiquity switches and routers today?
Sure, yeah. And on Monday, I went in there and put in a Ubiquity switch, and it's one of these things that has yeah, you can you can manage it remotely as a network, and Ubiquity has made their name in that, and they do homes and enterprises, so they're very sophisticated, but they can scale it down to something like a library, a small enterprise, and so yeah, I became educated on all the things that it was Shell that wanted us to get a fancier firewall capability on the on the library, so that someone wouldn't do something 3 times and get the whole library shut down for intellectual property sort of file stealing or whatever. So this was kind of the suggestion that Shell had, and it turns out you probably I don't know whether you've seen your email, but you saw the picture, did you, Gail, that I sent
Mhm.
of yeah. So as you, whether you're there and looking at it on a laptop or whether you're somewhere else, you can see that the network is what it's, it does a beautiful diagram of the internet and the router and the switch and all the things that the switch is connected to, and so yeah, here it comes maybe, um, um, and it's totally and so there's the take my word for it, that's if the screen was bigger, if you have a big display, yeah, so you can kind of see everything that's going on. And if something goes wrong, then it's kind of, it's easy for whoever the IT person is. Um, or you get, for 12 bucks a month, or, 20 bucks a month, depending on how fancy, you get someone to manage the system, which is something that the library figured that they might do. So if you look at the 1, 2, 3 blue things that are the fourth row down, they're the access points.
Oh yeah,
So
right,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
right
So
on the
yeah, so
slides.
two of them are outside, and I've already tested. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Two of them are outside, and they're our beginning of our well firewalled, secure, somewhat more robust public Wi-Fi for Shutesbury, and the library was happy to host the actual APs on the outside. And it's the same, public Wi-Fi inside as well. But here's the cute thing is that um, extending, Gal, you will love this, extending public Wi-Fi to somewhere else in town is as simple as buying another one of these guys. They're like 200 bucks something, outside rated or indoor rated APs that are Ubiquity APs, and you plug it into the switch there, that hard to see, and you add it to the system by clicking on the right management tools, and then you can unplug it and take it anywhere in the world. and and
Really?
um, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I don't guarantee anywhere in the world, but you can certainly will be able to find it anywhere in Shrewsbury, because it just it turns it into a part of the network, which the network then it's a cloud-based network, and the cloud finds it again. So it's pretty cool. Maybe you can take it anywhere in the world. I'm not going to do that experiment, but
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
So conceivably, even without even, we had talked about extending, some fiber from the library up to, the town hall. We don't even have to do that. We could just
No,
buy
no,
a
yeah.
couple, we a couple, buy more of these, put them at the town hall, and it could all be part of the Shutesbury Net Public.
Yes, correct. Yeah. And
Wow.
yeah.
Shall
So,
we do that? Shall
yeah,
we
yeah,
just do
yeah.
it?
So we'll buy another one and we'll try it. But
This
um,
still has to hook into a switch, right?
it's still plugging into a switch, and that switch will be the thing that so it'll have an IP address that
Yeah.
it'll find again. Yeah.
But the
So
main thing is
uh,
that people then can log in public.
yes,
Oh,
yes, it'll remember whatever it'll have all the SSIDs
yeah, yeah.
that one initially installs in it. So and for that one, instead of putting the library SSIDs on that one would configure it just to have the public. So bringing this new one there, the one that you're going to take away, yeah, yeah. So you just yeah. So anyhow, it's kind of one of the reasons also why um, I've become less the value added that Calyx had with managed routers. Other people are coming to the party with these sort of solutions, and so you don't need Calyx to do it. And this is more sophisticated, as you know, Craig, than the management router that we can turn on with Command IQ or whatever it's called.
And
So,
I used to have Ubiquity in my house, and
oh, you did? Oh, okay. Oh,
I
okay.
liked it a lot. But then one of
Oh,
my
yeah,
children
okay. Oh,
died, and then we got our shoot spray one.
You went to Lynx's. You downgraded to
It
Lynx's.
was a bit of a downgrade, yeah, but I decided to toe the line.
Yeah.
So where are future town meetings? Are they still going to be at town hall? Do we know?
I think the town hall is well, actually, that's a good point. One could bring one of these to a town meeting in the school gym. One could plug in the router because of, as we know, school has different security issues and considerations.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, we should buy. Gail, I'll give you the part number for that if you don't already have it, and we'll just plug one in. And when you're buying test routers, you can buy one of them as well.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Do we need a switch as well, or just
No, any Ethernet switch, I think it'll.
anyone? Okay.
So yeah, so we do have to find a switch in the library, but no, it doesn't even matter. It can plug into. It could plug into the spare port on any router in the public and the library. The router, even though the router in the town hall is not ubiquity, it speaks IP, and that's all it needs to do.
In the school, there might be device restrictions in place, so we might have to.
There might be for a town meeting though. It's like state law governs.
No,
Yeah,
no, but I'm talking about we might have to talk to whoever runs the IT in the school. 'Cause-
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've already done that.
Good.
I've approached them. I said, we would be glad to set up a public Wi-Fi network for you for free. We will pay for
Right.
all of the equipment. We will pay for the setup, and they turned me down. They said, no, we
yeah,
don't, we
there you
don't
go.
want it here.
We need to
when it-
emphasize to them that it won't allow any access to any of the computers in the school. It'll be firewalled or whatever.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And
Yes.
that's one of the settings on this is that anybody who is in the public network cannot see anybody else, cannot talk to anybody else, cannot share things
Right.
with anybody else. So that's one of the settings
Their concern is making sure that some disaster doesn't happen and get us in the Boston Globe. I get it.
Yeah. But it's a town meeting. It's a town meeting. They're already exposed to whatever sort of
Well,
disaster
that's
can
why they
happen.
don't want public access in the school, as somebody might do something nefarious with children.
No,
It's perception more than reality, but
yeah.
it's a valid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a-
we only need a port during a meeting, and we could walk away with it if they would go for that.
We may end up doing that, yeah. And
Yeah.
if the select board tells them they have to do it, then they'll do it.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, because it's a town meeting. We are going to vote on their budget, so
Right.
we got to get. Yeah,
Yeah, so what they did at the last special town meeting was they set up a temporary guest network,
There you
only
go.
broadcast in the gym, and so that people could have Wi-Fi access, and they seem just really adamant that they want control of that. So they are doing it, setting up a public network there. So I am.
No, we could give them the AP and
We just
the
may need to
access point.
educate them on the fact that this thing will not present a threat to
Yeah.
the network at all.
Yeah. But I can write 2 paragraphs to say the buzzwords that might.
I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do, so I'm not going to get mad at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Graham, I would love those 2 paragraphs. I tried to do this once already again and was turned down, so maybe I'm not using the right buzzwords
Yeah.
to see if they want that. And then when we get an answer from them, we might buy 2 of these, right? One for the
Yeah,
school, one for the town hall.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm still. There were things on the what do you call the contract in the library that didn't get in the scope. There's a few things that I'll have to that I can do to save them doing a change order on the contract, which would be a pain in the butt and cost more money. So I'll do the library stuff and I'll finish off. I'm still learning some of the acronyms of the firewall stuff. So wait until I know all the buzzwords, and then I'll remember that you need a couple of paragraphs to explain what it all is. I'll have to write that to myself anyhow, just so I remember what the parts were.
Got it. And Graham, we are still going to do the paid service with Ubiquity to do all the protections.
Um, you know, yeah, I haven't completed the research on that, but that'd be the easy one for as soon as I want to hand this off, I'll pick. The reason I haven't picked which one is because until I know what all there are a bunch of different choices, and until I understand what the different flavors of the different services were offered and which ones we really need, I also put that on the back burner. So, but it's less than $20 a month to get everything that we would need. Um, and it's probably 12 or $15 a month. But anyhow, I'll find out.
Okay, that's great. I'm less concerned about the cost of it and just more of, like making sure we choose one that's
Yeah,
does what we want.
there
And
seem to be
it's
third
easy.
parties. There seem to be third parties, not just Unify and Ubiquity, but there are third party people who just, understand how to do this, and they're happy to do it as a remote service. So it's kind of like one of these things. If you're looking for it, you kind of get a lot of you have to think, okay, which one do I want?
Okay. Did Mary Ann say anything about the guest password to you?
Well, she wanted it to be easy, and the current one at the library, and it's no secret, I believe, is 000 8 zeros, no, 6 zeros. Um, the password, if one has passwords on the Ubiquity SSIDs, then they have to be minimum 8 characters. It as you might have seen in the email I wrote today, I realized as I was there. Right now, I just defaulted to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as for the public access, without suggesting that should be the final one. But I realized, because of the issue of if we really want to have the issue solved of someone saying that they understand there's a policy and that they won't break the law, then it would be easy to make the password just something like agreeable, or policy agreed, or something like that, because you only have to enter it once, like any SSID.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, most people can write the two words policy agreed, if they can spell, and then, you've kind of got them by the short and curlies or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, there'll be many people who can't even do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because they just don't, they're not that, yeah. So, and the librarian is there to help those people. So it's not going to be an issue either way, if someone just doesn't understand how to log in the first time, then the person at the reference desk there can get them in. So forever.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is I think legally that's fine. Also, is another option to do no password, and then just have them hit um like we had talked about, a splash page of like just hitting a button saying like I agree to the policy, and then it lets you in like what you have at airports and things.
I think that makes it more complicated than some people will be able to. I think that's a level of complication that Marianne. I guess you only have to hit the splash page once, right? Maybe
Oh
that's
yeah, I would say only I would only go for that option if
okay.
it's a one-time thing. Yes, I agree
Okay.
that somebody hitting it every single time is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. We
Yeah.
can take this
Yeah.
offline, Graham, and just talk with
Yeah.
Marianne about what do you want this, either
Yeah.
policy agreed, or I guess for us, an investigation of like the splash page. What does it look like when we put a
Yeah.
document in there and an agreement? And does it really only come up once?
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
I'll look more into that, and we can definitely talk to Marianne. Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm just making a note of splash page or I agree password.
With no password. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
There are more and more places, in my experience of public Wi-Fi, where you don't have a splash page and where you don't have anything. And it just seems like maybe it's because their firewalls are so confident that they just, that they're just not worried about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be rarer, and I think
Yeah.
that the two things we're just trying to balance are like what what are we sure protects the library's network. I'm actually less concerned about somebody getting in there and like hacking. It's more from the legal standpoint.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Like
just intellectual
yeah,
property. Yeah, that's
yeah,
and the only reason Sheld is worried about it is because when there's no certainty of who the person was in the library, the intellectual property holder then goes after the ISP.
yes,
Yeah, so
yes, they do.
that's why the ISP is got their skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to stop the screen sharing, which is being a little bit problematic. Oh, I didn't want to close that one. Well, oh, there it is. It's way down there. Ha. The floating Zoom bar. Okay, got me again. All right. Well, we won't talk about the budget quite yet, but I'll leave the sharing on. All right, so we cover the library, and financially, we're, still in good shape, positive balance of about $46,410 currently. We do have the 117,000, which was approved by our auditor in September, but as usual, that is lingering in limbo until it gets voted on at the town meeting. We have this grant fund. This is not the grant that we're currently working with. This is the leftover CAF 2 funding that is coming from Westfield. So we don't have to decide tonight, but just know that this is lingering here. So we could put this towards emergency reserve. We could put this towards buying new routers or anything else that is in support or perpetuation of our network. Let's see, financially also for next meeting, I will have a draft of our fiscal year 27 budget. It's actually time to start doing that. The finance committee and the select board is trying to get that done earlier than in past years. Especially with the budget issues that so many of the committees are facing. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't affect them of like, we're not have to use anything from the tax base, but they're still doing this much earlier. So I expect that that'll happen in late January or early February. But we, for our budget, there's no big changes or surprises. I think it'll probably hold steady, which is nice for the first time in a while. I don't, I think we've hit the upper limit for now for price increases. Our contract is stable. No promises on materials. Oh, but I think we have enough headroom to absorb some pretty big inflation costs if those end up happening. Let's see. I submitted our annual report. Thanks to Jim for helping us sound less like a robot. And I think it was a good report. And it's interesting seeing what kind of like what AI did a year ago to now. It's like it's actually remarkably better, I thought, than how they or how it made our report from all of our past minutes as a first draft. So
It didn't seem to make up anything either.
no, and last time there's tons of mistakes. Like Jim and I spent a lot more time like going through and being like, that's not right. And this time it's like, no, that's actually pretty accurate. I mean, I cut a couple of things, but it was yeah, it's really neat. Let's see, the pole license project for West Pelham Road, the distribution cabinet continues to crawl along. About every week I get a missive from National Grid or Verizon saying, you neglected to put this into your application. And then I reach out to my friend, who's now my friend at National Grid, and say, I think you have this already. And then he writes back and he says, oh yeah, we have that you shouldn't have gotten that. So, utilities. Yeah. Let's see, over the next couple of weeks, I'll be sending out invitations for new members for the MLP, inviting them to run. Graham, to take your seat coming up. And Craig, thank you for being back up on that if we have no takers.
Sure.
Thank you, Craig.
No problem.
And let's see. The last, I knew this meeting was going to be quick. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is our routers. Just kind of like what's our next steps with those. Take a look at the spreadsheet. And I think the next step is for me just to buy a handful of these so that we can test them. But I do want to talk through what do we do when we get them? Who wants to test? What kinds of tests? Yeah, let's take a look at this here. I can make it a little bit bigger. All right, so we have the two ASUS models. We have the Netgear Nighthawk. There is I did a little bit more research on this. There is an upgraded model to this that's the Netgear RS150 instead of the RS90. That's a bit more expensive. I didn't put the price in there. But I'm wondering if we should get two Netgears. They look exactly the same. So, here's the RS70 and the RS90. They all look exactly the same from the outside. And then our TP links. And yeah, I think those are the main contenders. I would want to know from you all, are we doing the right thing by just going after Wi-Fi 7s here? Should we not even look at Wi-Fi 6s? I kind of assumed that because the Wi-Fi 7s are the latest and greatest technology to kind of get these to last and be future-proofed.
Yeah.
I think Wi-Fi 6 is enough. Wi-Fi 6, is there an added thing is there a Wi-Fi 6 advanced or enhanced or something as well? I can't remember whether I saw that, but anyhow, yeah. Craig, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends what the price differential is and whether we can afford it, I guess.
Yeah.
As it is, we're replacing routers that are still performing just fine, right? So if we get a Wi-Fi 7 router, it's possible that we'll replace it when it's still doing fine, and that's good. Of course, we do want to replace them before they start having limitations, but
It's a very good point. Yeah, yeah. By the time, yeah, it'll last longer than it gives a benefit for the things that Wi-Fi 7 does. As you pointed out some months ago, Craig, are things that are for high yeah, channel interference that doesn't happen in nearly any yeah, where there's apartment buildings where there's
right,
a
right,
lot
right,
of
right.
stuff that potentially conflicts.
Which is not an issue for us, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you have five neighbors that you can see, then Wi-Fi 6 you'd never need Wi-Fi 7 for that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I'd say probably the benefit of if we do if we offer a basic thing and an enhanced thing, then the basic one being Wi-Fi 6 would be totally
That's an idea. Yeah, that's an idea.
yeah, would save a lot of money and like you say, in 5 or 6 years' time, you know,
Wi-Fi 6 will still be just fine. Yeah,
yes, exactly right. Yeah, because
right.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'd say a 6 as the basic model and a 7 or a 7 as the enhanced one, and and we did mention or say, and they maybe they should be the same brand, but the same maker. But that, I wouldn't say that that makes much of a hill of beans of. Shell's not going to carry them on their trucks. I mean, it's always going to be, if one of them breaks, it's, we'll have spares somewhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, that's not a concern. My concern was more that if I don't know to the extent that Shell handles phone calls from people, it's
Mhm.
easier. It might be easier for them if they're dealing with one family because the interface will be the same every. The yeah. That's my only reason. So we could ask the
Yeah.
Shell tech support people if they think it's an issue or not.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think a big one of the most important things is, as we've discussed, that they should be easily installed. If they're not easy to install, then
Absolutely,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
you
Yep.
know, because
And all the newer
yeah,
ones are that way, but I think they're getting
yes,
easier and easier now
they're
as
getting easier.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Easy to install is super important.
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell me about wall mounting. Do you think that's important? And the reason I
No,
ask is because this one, which is my favorite high-end model and came top rated by Wirecutter,
Yeah.
and uh there's no wall mount on it.
You're talking about the BE 5000.
Yeah, this one right here.
Oh,
uh,
Push
uh,
550.
Oh, sorry,
most
the 550.
nearly
I
everyone in
doubt.
town has them sitting on counters and tables and behind things on the floor.
Right.
Hardly
Right.
anyone puts them. Hardly anyone has mounted a Linksys on the wall, as far as I know.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be a real wonk because even if you mount it on the wall, you still have to have the power cord and the Ethernet cable coming down from that. And most people probably don't want to see that. So unless you're going to
Yeah.
bury that behind the drywall or something, which a wonk could do. And if they're big and ugly like this, I don't see a purpose of wall mounting. There was one that I had found that was like a nice little, it looked kind of like a smoke detector or whatever. And
Yeah,
that I could
yeah.
see mounting.
Yeah,
I could
your
see mounting that on the
cute
wall,
ones.
but again, you still have the issue they're not showing in the picture there that there's going to be wires coming off of it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
And
And so
the
that
wires aren't gonna look pretty. You won't
no,
want to
exactly,
you won't want to have to fish them through the wall.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
uh, so
So the
yeah,
only reason to mount,
wall mount's not important.
only reason to wall mount it is to get it up a little higher so that it can get around the room better. But again, I doubt anybody in town is doing that right now.
Are you sure it's a good idea to offer two routers, a low end and a high end? I wonder about that.
I don't know.
Because of it's just of the complication of distributing them. How many of the high ends do we buy and have available at the annual town meeting? I mean, there's just, I think we ought to just stick to one router, and those people who want to do the deluxe Wi-Fi 7, the whole 9 yards would run out and buy their own, I guess. I just wonder, I just don't think we should make it too complicated for ourselves and just offer one router.
There's some
One
point to
good
that.
router.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's a good point. I think that people get overwhelmed when there's a lot of decision points of like,
Yeah.
do you want a new router? Okay, which one do you want? And this one is $20 more, and then dealing with, money exchange about that.
Yeah.
I do
I do see that.
like, kind of the idea of a premium option, but it introduces a lot of extra complication to this to the process of it. Um and yeah, so another thing I think that needs to get worked into this whole plan is a townwide like electronics recycling or waste
Mm,
waste thing that
mhm.
I know that people are going to be asking about this, like this is going to create a lot of waste, and a way to have a collection point for that. So anyway,
It would be
I'll-
lever. It would be lever
yeah.
at the moment, the recycling place.
Yeah, but it's, and if we do that, it will add some cost to it, but I imagine, you can bring it to the Leverett Recycling Center and we just pay the, $2 or whatever it is for them to take that.
But you're right. They could throw it in our box, and we could make that run for them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give up the high end if it seems too complicated. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel kind of strongly that we should offer Wi-Fi 7. I do understand that Wi-Fi 6 is fine. It's going to be 6 for years, but there's an optics issue here too. People are like, you're distributing new routers and you're not doing like the latest. And when you compare the pricings of these, there's not it's not outrageous in terms of the pricing difference. Like, you can find plenty of Wi-Fi 6 routers for $130 too. So
Yeah.
Here's my guess. Here's my guess on that. As someone who did do electrical design, if someone told me as a designer to make something that met Wi-Fi 7 specs and that had to price at Wi-Fi 6 pricing, then I would be able to do that, but I would have to cut corners there'd be various things yeah, it would be, no, it would not be a good Wi-Fi 7 to get the cheapest Wi-Fi
I
7.
think you're assuming a little too much there. I think a lot of this just is Wi-Fi 6 companies. If it's still selling, why should they lower the price? And some people are trying to be aggressive and get in the market. I wouldn't assume that the lower end Wi-Fi 7s are any less reliable or whatever than I wouldn't
yeah,
I wouldn't assume that.
And I also feel strongly that we should not get low end anything. That
Right.
the
course.
money that we save, that if we do go with Wi-Fi 7, it's going to be like a mid-range, like what we did with
Okay,
our
okay,
yeah. We're not, so I'm not proposing of like, no, we'll just get Wi-Fi 7 and do it cheapo. No, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right and get something that's going to last.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, can I say, all of these routers that you're listing are not, I don't think any of them are tri-band. They're
This one
usually
is.
Yeah, I see
Oh,
tri-band.
yeah, that one is, but all the others are not. And there's a lot of, so the Wi-Fi 7 may be a little bit misleading in the sense that it's going to deliver all of what Wi-Fi 7 can do, which should be tri-band, the performance. But if you get into tri-band routers like this one, like the one you're showing on the screen, and others, they're pretty expensive. And I don't know. I think you ought to stick with Wi-Fi 6 routers. I don't.
We're having an impasse here.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, Jim. The reason that you're saying that is because the benefit and price difference of the 7th isn't worth it.
Well, it's that it's that true Wi-Fi 7 routers are should be tri-band routers, and they're and few of them are, and are not. Very few of them are. Just this one, and they're putting out Wi-Fi 7 routers. And that sounds kind of groovy, because it's Wi-Fi 7 versus 6. But then again, they're not really delivering the kind of performance that a really good high-end Wi-Fi 7 router can deliver. I'd be cautious about jumping into Wi-Fi 7s. That's all.
Got it. So you think that a Wi-Fi 6 tri-band is actually better than a Wi-Fi 7 dual band?
Can Wi-Fi 6 routers do?
No,
Yeah,
I don't think.
I don't
No,
think they
he's
do
saying
tri-band.
he's saying one of the bump ups when they went to Wi-Fi 7 is tri-band,
Yeah.
but that not all the Wi-Fi 7s are doing it. But what it adds is it adds the Wi-Fi 6E adds tri-band, but it's adding a 6 gigahertz band, and that's really short distance. And so I think
Very short
it's-
distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's not going to make much of a difference for most people. If you're down on the other side of the house, that 6 gigahertz is going to perform not as well as 5 or 2.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
think that is accurate, that we don't need tri-band, and this is a residential application. We need the strong signal, not the fastest. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wi-Fi 7 offers a few other advantages. So wider channels I'm reading here.
Yeah, it's more energy efficient as well. Point
Is that
signals.
right?
Yeah, saves
this-
it saves energy on your phone as well, on your device as well, because it makes
it does more steering.
Yeah, it does more steering. Yeah. Hard to understand why that would be good for your device, but I know it powers it down, and it does traffic management in a way that saves it turning on and off as much, stuff like that. I can't remember what the detail was on saving your iPhone battery working as hard, but it does apparently.
Okay.
It adds something.
If the prices are similar and we get a 7 that is a good brand and good quality and all that, why not for Gail's marketing point of view, right? Even if it's only marginally better than the 6, it still is a 7, and that's going to market better with people.
Yeah, and I have not heard anything about a Wi-Fi 7 kind of like being the new technology that ends up being worse than the old technology because it's not tested.
No, I don't think that's the
Right?
case.
Right?
No,
That we're-
no.
I don't think we're dealing with that issue here.
It's been
Yep,
out long enough
I
that
agree.
it's past the first problem stage.
I'm reading a review here that says, while the 6 gigahertz band is a lot faster than 5, it works best when your smartphone, tablet, or laptop are about 15 feet from your router. So,
okay.
Same room then.
right. And again, if somebody needs that sort of speed for it won't matter for a phone, but if they need that speed for a computer and they're going to be 15 feet away, they should just run a wire, right?
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. Does anybody know anything about Wi-Fi calling besides the point that Graham made about the energy efficiency? And the reason I'm asking is because that seems to be the most commonly connected device, and so many people use that to do calling kind of exclusively these days.
Yeah, no, we use it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything special about it. My main issue, and we can try to look in the minutia of the reviews, is that sometimes when I'm walking around the house, a Wi-Fi call will get dropped. And
Yeah, I have that experience. I have that experience as well, and it's less now, but early on, we had a lot of people who were just crazy with Wi-Fi calling, especially with iPhones. It just
Yeah.
it didn't work. And I think since then, a lot of people have actually changed their routers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Who just could not, like, kind of could not get it to work, and just experience kept dropping calls and dropping calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
if we can get any intel that says this router versus that router is better for not dropping calls, then that should be a point in that router's favor.
yeah,
But I don't know.
I think each new generation has got better at handling, you know,
The handoffs,
and
yeah.
privileging things that had to be privileged so they didn't drop out, you know, in between breathing or
Right. And it's
silence.
also going to be a function. It's also going to be a function of the phone. If you're using a really old phone, it's probably
Yeah.
not going to handle it as
There
well.
is that as well. Yeah.
But that's a very, very hard spec, so to speak, to
Yeah, I
to
agree.
investigate. You know, it's a very subjective kind of a thing, and I don't know, and that's where, you know, it comes down to you know, finding a good place to test them, and
Yep.
which is why I asked my neighbors just 2 doors up, because I don't have any use for Wi-Fi calling, but there are 4 people in this household, all with iPhones, walking around all over the place. And I figured if I could switch off a couple of routers and see which one they seem to like the best, I'd learn something in that way, you know, because that would be a good test situation. If you had a complicated household with lots of people on iPhones. But
You've got the perfect focus group there, Jim.
yeah,
You really
yeah,
do.
yeah, exactly. Well, I've been thinking about it.
Well, good.
Yep.
Good. Well, all right. Well, I know you're not completely sold, Jim, but I feel pretty strongly that I think we should go with a Wi-Fi 7 model, one of those, and choose a matrix of these Wi-Fi 7s and put them through their paces and test them. You know, the other part of this is that we can afford it. We can actually afford to get like fairly nice routers from between the grant and our depreciation fund. That yeah, we don't have to get the bargain basement.
Yeah,
Good.
I wish
Cool.
I wish I knew. I mean, I've just voiced this one before, but I'm nervous about TP-Link for not only the bad service history that I've had with them personally, but also that article that who was it who sent me? Oh no, it was you know, the article
Don't
from
name them.
PC. All right. No, PC Mag, you know, had a piece on TP-Link, and you know, which I sent to you, Gail. And I that makes me nervous about TP-Link.
Yeah, but my takeaway on that article, though, and I'm agnostic about kind of like what brand we get, as long as it is a major brand, was that TP-Link is taking a lot of heat for being vulnerable, but they all are. That it's
Correct.
not it's not
All
a
right, well.
unique problem to that particular manufacturer. It's just they're the ones that are getting the bad
They
press
come from
about it.
China. They come from China, and
Yeah.
yeah, it and the good thing in that is that the federal government from the first Trump administration, because they were Chinese and because they've sold well and because they compete they compete so well, they've been under investigation by various levels of the federal government, and they really haven't found anything that is damning. The biggest one was pointed out that when people didn't change their initial passwords, that they got hacked that way. But that's, like you say, Gal, that's a problem for all of for any router that the ones they send out with admin as the password, then there's a vulnerability. But anyhow, I don't think that TP-Link. I think TP-Link, the fact that that they haven't really found anything with all of the smarts and the capacity that the federal government has. I know someone in military cybersecurity. I mean, they look at these things if there are any suspicion at all, and yeah, nothing's showed up in all of these years. So.
Well, there is
Yeah.
still the matter of the service. I wish we could get reliable information on the service history on some of these units, but I think that's going to be very hard to find.
Yeah, I would say nearly nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next step is I'm going to put together a proposal of which ones to buy. I'm going to kind of lean towards the green ones on the spreadsheet, but I'm going to take another look at all of them and make sure that we're getting the correct, not the correct, but the most likely model that we would buy. So like, for example, this Netgear, I'm thinking, well, I should really look at the RS 150, the next model up, and see what price that is and what advantages it gives over the RS 90.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just stay away from the, I've talked to Kent about this. The
Mhm.
RS-90 only has 2 internal antennas, and so its ability to steer is apparently compromised. So I would stay away from the RS-90. He was the one who dug it, found that one out. So
Oh, nice. Okay, sorry, I missed that if you sent it to me about the no internal. So I'll make a note here that.
yeah,
Not
Oh
enough
yeah,
aerials.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. You
It's
sort of
not a
need 4, right? They don't do 3, do they, Jim? You go 2 to 4. Is that true?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I swear some of these things, the more antennas on them are merely decorative. Sort of like in the
right.
in the 1920s, they sold radio sets to people, and they just put a lot of tubes in them, that didn't do anything. They would just,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spare tubes. Hmm.
It
That's
looks like
fantastic.
it looks like the tri-band Netgear is at least a couple $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've done out the math on this. Anything around $200 is fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm thinking that only 500 people are going to want the upgrade. A lot of people are going to be like, I'm fine with what I want. I don't want to mess with my network. I don't like everything's working.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I would be surprised if we had 500 takers.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll
thinking
bet you're right.
I'm thinking it's going to be more like 350 of like half of our users are going to want to upgrade. And so 200 times 500 is 100,000. And we have almost 300 grand in our depreciation fund, not even counting the grant
Yeah.
funds.
Yep.
Huh.
So
All
And
right.
we know that the electronics in the heart is built to withstand explosions and wouldn't cost all that much to replace anyhow. $100,000 in the heart if everything burned. So
yeah, I mean, we have this pretty large depreciation fund thinking that we would basically have to rebuild the hut, not rebuild it, but like replace all the electronics all at once. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is
It happens
this is
slowly.
kind of the
Yeah.
only this is the only thing that we have to, to upgrade. That the only thing that this money is going to be used for. Yeah, in another 40 years,
Yeah.
somebody is going to have to rebuild our network and put up new fiber, maybe.
Yeah, probably more than 40 years.
Yeah,
And
but all of us
and
are
it,
going to be
yeah.
long gone by then. I don't know. I might still be hanging on, but probably not.
No, no. And it is good self-selecting. Those people who don't think they need a new router probably don't need a new router.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Right.
might as well, I like the environmental thing of only replacing, those that people want them. So,
We do have to decide what we do with somebody who doesn't take one and 2 years later says, now I want one.
no,
Because
no, they'll be out there.
we may
No.
not be in a position to offer it then. I don't know.
Well, we can keep a reserve just for those people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should stock up on them and
Yeah.
and we will run into the same problem that we ran in with the Linksys where they stopped making them. And kind of like by default, we have to upgrade people. So
But when
yeah.
they stop making them, they make something better that's more cost effective. So, even that's
Right.
not a problem,
Right.
really. Yeah.
So I just sent a link in the chat.
Oh, nice.
You can
Okay.
get a 2-pack of a Wi-Fi 7 that looks much nicer than all the ones we've been looking at. It fits in the room better. A 2-pack for $199 or $200.
Ooh.
But and that's list price, so we may be able to do better by anyway. Just
Yeah.
something to think about, because the problem a lot of us have is brick chimneys that block the signal and that sort of thing, and the mesh is supposed to help that. So people might be a lot happier if they had a separate access point in addition to their main router. I know I'm doing that in my house right now.
No.
Netgear Orbi, huh?
Yeah, and it just looks cool too.
It does look cool.
I think the days of where you had, as you were pointing out, the ones with the 8 antennas that look like
Yeah.
something out of sci-fi.
Porcupines.
As somebody was mentioning a few minutes ago, they don't necessarily work any better.
Yeah. Well, and
'cause
also it's something else that can break too. You
That's
drop
right.
it
That's
and
right.
just
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
your toddler will be brutal to antennas. So.
Yeah, so the high-end units that we've been testing, the what do you call it? It's the drawing a blank on the name right now. They've got all internal antennas and they're high-end routers, right? They
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and they're working just fine in my testing. So anyway, we can think about that too. Aesthetics.
Okay, I'm gonna put this on the list and dig in a little bit more and just see if we can maybe even get one of these for testing. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Get a 2-pack.
yeah. Okay.
But if we get a whole bunch of routers, it's going to be difficult to compare them all, wouldn't you think?
Well,
It might be better.
it's a little subjective, but
Yeah.
it's what it is.
It is going to be subjective, yes.
Yeah, and this whole team has talked about routers so much over the last 7 years. And
No.
yes, we have. And
I know. I'm kidding.
I just I think that we could have analysis paralysis by trying
could,
we're
absolutely.
gonna get the best router for everybody. And
You
we're
are
gonna make
absolutely right.
the best choice. And I think that that's the wrong way to go about thinking about this. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Let's try to get a router that doesn't suck. Right? Like just like a solid router that's made by a major manufacturer that has, good solid reviews
I
and
agree.
that is easy to install and looks nice. People are
Yeah.
happy with it, right?
Yep.
And
I
I
agree.
think as long as we meet that criteria, trying to the best one that's like this much faster or just a little bit or whatever, we can make ourselves crazy. And also we're on a shot clock. right?
Yep.
We kind of have to make this decision, as hard as it is,
Yeah.
within the next 2 months in order to do all these other ancillary things with this rollout in time.
Yep.
For the grant. So
Yeah.
we're gonna approach this as like good enough, something that doesn't suck, and that's gonna work.
I mean, they're all going to be pretty good. I mean, it's yeah.
But we won't add it to our letterhead. Shutesbury Net doesn't suck. we don't suck.
No, we're not going to do that.
No.
No.
Another thing I want to do a little dive into is what's Verizon and Comcast giving? Like
Yeah.
who's like what are they deploying these days? I think that could be really informative because I know that they don't make their own, right? They're buying their routers from
Sure.
Some
major manufacturer.
some of them have a modem router combination.
But that's
where
old.
it is. Yeah, they don't
we
do
don't
that
need-
now. Okay.
No, we don't need that. The modem was for
I know. We don't need it, but that used to
right.
That used to be
Yeah,
what
because-
they did,
Sure,
they
because
were,
some of their houses still have coax. Yes, that's right.
yeah. So
They still do that.
Yeah, they were built. They were built for their cable coax. It needed a modem, and they put it into a little bit like if we combined a router with an ONT. I mean, we don't do
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
that's the equivalent of what some of the carriers do or used
Sure.
to do. I don't
Sure.
know. Yeah.
So
yeah,
my,
we could look, but I don't think it'll be relevant to us.
yeah, my father-in-law in LA and they have fiber to the home, and they gave him an Eero router, which is a little more expensive than what we're looking at.
Yeah,
again, that's
I
one
looked at that one.
that's-
It priced out though. It was too much.
Yeah, I know, I understand that.
But it was good.
Frontier can probably negotiate a really big discount, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's fine. I'm just throwing that out there as what sort of higher end is out there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, guys. So I'll be in touch. I'll do it before Thanksgiving of like, here's the ones I propose to buy. So the next step for you guys is just to like look at the list and basically say, go for it. If you think I'm missing anything, or you really wanted to take a look at one of them, just say the word. We have the budget to buy however many of these that we want without
Test routers,
overwhelming
yeah.
ourselves. Okay.
Yep. Sure.
Very good. Yeah.
All right. Anything else today?
Nope.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I won't talk to you live, so I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for being such wonderful committee members and showing up. And I hope you have a great day with your family and friends.
Thanks.
Also
You
to
too.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.